B at the Euros consists of Slovakia, Romania, Ukraine, and Belgium.
Yeah.
This is quite an interesting mix, in my opinion.
It's a really interesting mix.
What do you think ultimately characterizes this group? Is it as simple as Belgium getting 9 points out of it, or is it more about the underdog prowess of Ukraine, Romania, and Slovakia?
I think this group will be a testament to see how much does qualification really mean. Like, does it matter? We've seen it matter. We've also seen it not matter. We'll get to see, is Romania real?
That's the one.
We'll get to see if Ukraine got... We'll get to...
Romania real is crazy. Yes, they're fucking real. Or maybe they're not. We don't know, bro. Maybe they're not.
Is the test that Ukraine went through, those trials and tribulations, are those going to mean actual good things for them in this tournament? Slovakia is interesting too, just because they have a lot of low-key talent. And then there is Belgium, right? One of the better sides in the world. And will they just kind of see out this group and win every single match? There's a lot of questions in this group,
A lot of questions. I think the most safe answer I can give you is that Belgium will top this group.
Yeah.
Belgium will top this group. Coached by Domenico Tedesco, ranks number 3 in FIFA's rankings. They topped their Euros qualification group in style with 22 goals for, only 4 goals against. This is a group that they shared with Austria and Sweden. So 2 formidable sides. Timothy Castagne, Kevin De Bruyne, Yuri Tillemans, Axel Witsel, Romelu Lukaku, Trossard, Doku, and Openda. Some really good names on this team, but one big one that's going to be missing is the absence of Thibaut Courtois, who will not be at this tournament. Upon my research, seeing that there's a bit of a fallout, bro, between player and coach, where ultimately the gist that I got was that he refused a selection after an argument with Tedesco about being captain. And from what I'm hearing from the Belgians, Courtois got a bit of an ego, man.
Oh, he's definitely got an ego, bro.
Madrid.
Yeah, I mean, he chose the great Atleti betrayal by going to Real Madrid, and he was happy to do it. Like, he was eager. He was shaking Florentino Perez's hand with a big smile on his face, even though Atleti had given him everything.
Wow.
So it's been pure. He used, instead of seeing Atletico as like a home, he used it as a stepping stone.
My goodness.
So that's pure ego. Fuck him.
Yeah, I get it, bro. Yeah, you and as an Atleti fan, I get it, bro. I completely forgot that he was there too. That's crazy that you haven't forgotten, but it makes sense. So Courtois will not be here. And I think it's interesting because it kind of represents, in a way, the fall of Belgium's defense, in my opinion. With no Courtois now back there, one of the best goalkeepers in the world. And just looking at the clubs that all these defenders now pertain to, Fulham, Anderlecht, Leicester City, Trabzonspor, Club Brugge, and Rennes. Whereas in the past, you had Premier League talent or Premier League players that play for the Belgian national team defending that back line. I think there's been a major drop-off specifically in that sector of the pitch. Where there hasn't is in the midfield with the one and only Kevin De Bruyne leading this team as easily the best player for them and now getting into really good form after coming back from injury for Manchester City and now preparing himself for this major tournament.
Overall, I agree. I think that's actually the main narrative for Belgium going into this tournament is how are they in this transitionary phase of this national team? Because the golden generation, right, went to the semifinal of the 2018 World Cup, and starting in 2016, people really had high hopes for Belgium. That's when they started entering the top 5 of the FIFA rankings and established themselves as one of the best international teams in the world. And so pretty much since 2016, people had Belgium as title contenders, you know? Could they actually take this golden generation and turn it into silverware? Here's a fun fact. Belgium are the only team in FIFA history to have topped the FIFA rankings and not win any major tournaments. They've never won the Euros, and they've never won the World Cup. The Netherlands are historically the best team that's never won the World Cup, but they won the Euros in '88.
They got the Euros.
Damn, so the Belgium has never won anything.
God, dude, that trophy cabinet's empty.
It's empty.
It's empty, yet they've amassed such incredible
heights. That's the thing. And I think honestly that translates to a whole lot of pain for this Belgian team, man. A whole lot of pain because I honestly, I even thought that they were going to lift some sort of title at a certain point, but last time's World Cup, I think, was the end of the golden generation definitively. Eden Hazard was a part of that squad, bro. Like, isn't that crazy?
That's nuts,
like,
man.
I can't believe that. It seems like Hazard played so long ago, but he actually featured for Belgium a year and a half ago. But I think that was definitely the signaling of the death of the golden generation. But I will say, if you compare him to like Germany's transitional period, Spain's transitional period, honestly, it might be a quick rebirth for Belgium because, I mean, when you look up top, there's some players that are in fine form, my friend. Jeremy Doku, he's going to be a menace down that left wing. He's, 21, 22 years of age. He's just getting going to. Bagged himself a title with Manchester City this season. And once he came to City, Pep pretty much integrated into the team pretty quickly. Like, it came to the point where it was Doku over Grealish this season. I think that's a massive point to make. And then on the other side, you have Leandro Trossard in his prime, a more creative type winger who likes to cut inside. We've seen the impact that he's had at Arsenal. Coming from Brighton, Mikel Arteta immediately put him in rotation. Starts one game, comes off the bench in the other, starts the next game. Like, he is one of the go-to guys for Arteta and got second place, very close behind City this season in the Premier League. That's who you have on the wings, bro. You have Romelu Lukaku, who, for as much criticism as he gets, he's still an elite striker. Let's not forget that. And then if you have Kevin De Bruyne pulling the strings of that offensive three, that's a hell of an offense, man. You can't prove me otherwise. And then off the bench, you can bring on Luca Bacchio from Sevilla. You can bring on Lois Openda as well from RB Leipzig. There's some good offensive talent, bro, that's waiting to be unleashed for Belgium. And it's all young, minus Lukaku and De Bruyne. So I think there's a really good integration going on between the veterans that have remained and the young players that are coming through. Because when you look at the players behind De Bruyne, you could put Yuri Tielemans and Onana, a really good defensive pairing that are also very good off the pass, bro. So I think from the midfield and offensive perspective of Belgium, bro, they're one of the best, honestly, even though they're pretty young, all things considered. Where it does get hairy, though, is the defense, right? And I think that's where we're really going to see if Belgium gets tested. Maybe not in this group, but I think that's where Belgium might get, a little wavery here once they get to the knockout stage and play against Europe's best. But either way, I think the offense that they boast will be enough to remain competitive against anybody at the Euros.
I have their wingers listed as the most exciting sector, the most exciting part of this Belgian team. I really like the idea of Jeremy Doku finally getting the keys to this Belgian wing offense, if you will, and Leandro Trossard as well on the other side. I think that's really, really positive, man. I think that's really, really good. One guy at Arsenal, one guy at Manchester City, like two top clubs in the world. I love that pairing. Up top, it gets really interesting because Lukaku obviously is an elite striker and has been the go-to guy for Belgium. And I think he is going to end up starting these matches. But I'm curious to see how Tedesco manages the presence of Lois Openda, who had like almost 25 goals in the Bundesliga this year with RB Leipzig. And he's been working his way up the ranks these past 2-3 years, going off for RC Lens in Ligue 1 when they got second place just last year, then getting bought out by RB Leipzig and going off for them in the Bundesliga as well. His improvement has been massive. He's 24 years old right now, whereas Lukaku's 31. I think it's worth noting, or at least worth trying out, especially in this group where it's going to be such a ultimately easy matchup for them. I think you should try Openda for one match.
Yeah.
Start him up top for one match, maybe against Slovakia, maybe against Romania, and kind of gauge which player is in better form throughout their tournament, because I do think they have two really good focal points up top, and it's just a matter of making the right pick. I think Lukaku's a safer option because of the experience, and he will get that. I think he will get that selection, but just keep Openda on your radar. That's all I'm asking for Tedesco, because I think he could do some damage if he finds himself with the opportunity.
Yeah, it'll be super exciting to see the youngster in Openda, to see him actually establish himself as a menace, as a force going forward for Belgium. But that's why I like Belgium, man, is they have a lot of these players. Even you could extend this to Tielemans and Onana as well. They haven't really played at major international tournaments as the go-to guys for their country. Now they get this opportunity. And I think Openda, knowing that Lukaku's not on his way out, but is getting older, I think Openda can get excited himself that he will see the pitch. He can have an impact. And what I like about Belgium in general is, though, is I like the Tedesco's rotation. Throughout this entire qualification campaign, he really has rotated out this offensive line to see what works best, what players he wanted to bring to the Euros, what players mesh well with the midfield. I like Tedesco as a manager. I think he's really good at seeing which players fit best in his system, not just picking the best players individually. That's what I'm really excited about. But just to point out that hole one more time, I think Vertonghen's still playing as the center back, and he's like, what, 38? 38?
Yeah, I don't know, man.
That's kind of crazy,
I don't
man.
know. We'll see.
He's been the go-to guy in a lot of these matches for Belgium. I won't be surprised if he starts. But yeah, he'll have that Pepe effect. You know, maybe he's still got it. I haven't seen him really play that much since he's now playing in Belgium. But
doesn't Witsel play center back for Belgium more too?
No, that's the thing though, is that Witsel always was a defensive midfielder for Belgium. It was Simeone who turned him into a center back. I don't know if that translation's been made fully at international level. So I wonder if Witsel even sees the pitch as a starter because of that. I really do wonder. I think they have left back issues as well. I think their starting left back Teat might have injury issues. I'm not sure if he's going to make it. So yeah, the back line of Belgium is definitely their weakest point.
I think it's interesting though how this time it feels like there's not any pressure on Belgium. And yet they're still ranked number 3 in the FIFA rankings. They still have incredible names. Kevin De Bruyne's still playing football. Lukaku's still here. But I feel like the pressure's gone. And it might be because of the impact that losing out on the 2022 FIFA World Cup had. The nail in the coffin, as you called it earlier. I feel like that almost had a lasting effect on the Belgian fans and maybe the rest of the media from outside the world, in that, you know, we kind of forgot about Belgium. We've kind of just put them off the radar. We kind of just left them out for dead. And maybe this ends up benefiting them mentally because now they don't feel that weight. They don't feel that pressure of having to deliver with what was their golden generation. Now they can just play free-flowing football under a new head coach, by the way. I think that might end up being a really positive after effect of what happened at the 2022 FIFA World Cup.
Wow, dude, I didn't even realize this, but subconsciously, now it's coming to my main conscious, I've seen this Belgium side as, I see them as a promoted team, a team that got promoted but has a lot of skill. They splashed a lot of cash over the summer, so now they have a lot of new players that are young, and they might be able to make a big impact. But because they're so new, there's no pressure on them. I don't have any pressure on this Belgian side, but I expect them to top this group, and I expect them to play very well no matter who they face in the round of 16 and quarterfinals, because they have insane talent. But you're right, dude. Like, if Belgium lose in the round of 16, I'll be like, yeah, it's a job well done.
Hard on them anymore, because we're kind of used to it. I'm gonna be honest, but looking like at the context, looking at what's going on internally for the team, there has been a lot of improvements, a lot of good things happening. My biggest question to you and to the people watching is, do they go past quarterfinals?
Yeah, I would say no. I think quarterfinals is their max, but if they get a favorable draw and they've shown throughout the tournament that they're actually firing on all cylinders offensively and their defense looks okay, I might give them a shout for semis, but I'm going to say quarters.
I'm actually with you. I think max quarterfinals here. Anything beyond that, then I will truly be surprised, and props to them if they do. It'll be an amazing thing. But for me, I do have Belgium getting to the quarterfinals max. The second biggest, most prominent question in this group is Romania real?
Yeah. Where is it on the map?
Where is it?
Is Romanian a language? No, I'm just kidding. It's one of the famous Latin languages, but Romania, beautiful country. Bucharest.
Coached by Andrew Tate.
Dude, Romania had a crazy qualifying campaign, man. They're unbeaten.
And it's why you pose the question, how much does the qualifying campaign actually matter? Because I think Romania truly represents it to the max. What the fuck does qualification in the Euros mean? Because they topped their group, man. They topped it while having Switzerland and Israel in their groups, and they also went undefeated. Mm-hmm. So does that say more about Romania, or does that say more about the quality of teams that they were grouped with?
Two things here. One, yes, it's definitely the quality of teams that they were grouped with. We already talked about the shortcomings of Switzerland. Let's make sure we don't forget that, because I think that played a major factor in Romania being able to top their qualifying group. Here's the crazy thing, bro. Romania did amazing things by qualifying in 2016. And I actually have a personal relationship with Romania, because during that time, I was following every single one of their games at the time. They were playing really good football. Nicolae Stanciu, who's actually still part of this team today, he was going off. He had established himself as a really good, young, creative, attacking midfielder. And you could see it in the way that Romania were playing. They were going up against Spain at the time and competing, playing against them, being able to match them. And going into 2016, I had so much high hopes for that Romanian team. and they ended up bottom of their group. Here's what's crazy. That team in 2016 was unbeaten in their qualifying too.
God damn it.
Yep.
Oh,
and so they've literally been here before, and the result was a last place finish, even though they were unbeaten. So there definitely is arguments to be had. You have to take the qualification teams into account, because if you're playing against Switzerland, if you're playing against Israel, it probably doesn't mean anything.
Damn, dude. Damn, that's harsh, man, because
It's harsh.
Romanians might be feeling on top of the world with the way that they perform, bro.
They should, though.
Looking at the record in the last, they'd be undefeated. Yeah, if it wasn't for a 2-3 loss to the hottest international team in the world, Colombia, they'd be undefeated since November 2022.
Wow.
So that's crazy, because the most recent game was a 2-3 loss to Colombia. And I actually saw that match, and what I saw was a very quick Romanian side with some strength to them and the ability to counter. But I definitely did see a clear difference in quality between even them and a team like Colombia, who is such a great team right now, but I think is comparable to like the top teams in Europe. So I think there's a big gap here. I definitely do. My biggest question is it as bad as getting fourth in their group once again? Or can they actually get third or second this time around, improving upon that 2016 Euros performance?
Yeah, the way that they play now, I actually think it's better than it was in 2016. I think they have a lot more direct of an approach. So you still have a player like Stancu who's really good on the ball, but it's route one for Romania. The reason why I think it works is because the players that they have up top, Puskás, Draguš, and Hagi, they're all really strong, physical type of forwards. They're not even real wingers, really. They're just forwards that play in a wide position. So you can throw long balls on either flank or centrally for Romania, and they're going to fight to get it. And when they do get it, the midfield joins them. That is what has made Romania really deadly in qualifying. I just don't know how it'll work against an elite side, right? Because it works against Switzerland. It works against Israel. And it works really well. But I just need to see it against Germany. I need to see it against Belgium, for example. Hell, honestly, even Ukraine, I think, will be a good test for Romania. I'm not going to go as far as to say that it's just flat out not going to work. I'm not going to go that far, because to go unbeaten, it does mean that you've worked on it and you've practiced it and execute your plan game in, game out. That's definitely what Romania have done. I don't want to undo that, but yeah, I'm just curious to see how they go up against better offenses and better defenses.
So then let's pose a question, guys. Are you buying into this Romanian side? Are you buying in? Are you buying stocks in this team? I'm sorry, but I'm not.
I'm not either.
I'm going fourth. I'm going fourth for them. Are you going to go third?
I'm going third for Romania.
Okay,
I think they will have an improved performance based off of 2016, but I just think it won't be enough to get past some good talent in this group.
Yeah, okay. I like that.
Yeah,
I like that. Third for you, fourth for me. They have Dragusin in the back line, the Tottenham Premier League defender. So, I mean, that's a big name. That's a really good name to have there. The goalkeeper, Moldovan, I think I saw, is signed to Atleti.
He's Atletico. He's Jan Oblak's backup.
He's the backup.
Horacio Moldovan, yeah.
I was wondering if he was going to be like the third or fourth string, but he's the direct backup then.
Yeah, and it makes him the second best goalkeeper at this Euros, right behind Jan Oblak. So watch out if you're Romanian.
This guy. Folks, let us know. Are you buying into the Romanian side who's making their 6th Euros appearance? Let us know in the comments down below, because I do think this team is it's an enigma. It's very fascinating to see how you compare a team that did so well in the Euros qualification, but now how do they compete in the biggest tournament in Europe? With them in this group is Slovakia and Ukraine. Why don't we shift on over to Ukraine?
I like Ukraine. I really like this team, actually. I will say, though, they snuck into this Euros. Dude, if you watch the first playoff game against Bosnia, Bosnia should have won that game. Like, straight up. They were the better team for most of the entire match. If it wasn't for the great Bosnian squad implosion that happened in the 80th minute in that match, Ukraine would not be here. It's the Bosnians that let Ukraine back into that game. But Ukraine had a really good showing against Iceland, right? So that's where I think they ultimately deserved it, by getting that final playoff match against Iceland, beating them pretty handily. And Iceland were good in that match too. So overall, I'm really excited that Ukraine have been able to make it to this tournament, because at their best, they play some really silky football, man. They have some excellent midfielders who are really good on the ball. And then you have some interesting talent up top. Yaremchuk's been tremendous for Ukraine his entire international career. He's still putting in some really good minutes in La Liga. And then, of course, you have Mikhailo Mudryk, who for as much shtick as he's gotten this season at Chelsea, he's a different dude at Ukraine, man. He's completely different. He's given a lot more free reign to roam, and he gets the ball a lot with this Ukraine side. So if you're a Mykhailo Mudryk fan specifically, watch Ukraine because every other minute, Mudryk is touching the ball. It's actually fascinating to watch. But the reason why I think that works so well is because Mudryk is the type of guy that just needs reps.
Yeah.
Give him the ball, let him dribble.
Usage.
Yeah, usage.
High usage.
Let him dribble like 20 times, and he'll get past 3 times. And when he gets past those 3 times, it's deadly. So I think the more Mudryk just gets the ball, the more chances you give him, the actual more creation that generates for the Ukrainian offense. So I really like this Ukrainian team overall. And just in general, I mean, Sigankov on the other side, who's been fantastic for Girona. If you don't play Yaremchuk, you can play Dovbyk, who was the La Liga top goal scorer, by the way. So there's a lot of really good weapons that the Ukrainians have at their disposal, and I think they'll be able to use a lot of that here in the Euros.
Yeah, they got good players in every sector of the pitch. Up front, the front three I think is really nice. Mudryk, Dovbyk, and Sigankov, and then behind them Sudakov I think is really, really good.
Sudakov's good.
Sudakov's good, bro, from what I'm seeing. Midfield, you got the Zinchenko presence in the midfield playing for Arsenal. In the back, you have Premier League talent Mikalenko playing for Everton, and then the one and only Andriy Lunin, who guided Real Madrid from the goalkeeping position to the UEFA Champions League final. The team is really good. One comment on the whole Euros qualification process that got crazy for them. When I was doing my research, and I'm going to sound Ukrainian saying this, a lot of Ukrainian folks claim that they should have gotten through automatically on a penalty that should have been given on Mykhailo Mudryk in that last match against Italy where they ended up tying 0-0. If they get that penalty call and they score, they don't put themselves in that shoddy position of, going through a rigorous playoff system. So I will say that to support the Ukrainians in their efforts here. And I'll even double down on it because, bro, they didn't play a single game at home.
Yeah.
They played nothing
crazy,
but away games this entire time, and they made it to this tournament. What factor does that have on the team's mentality? Not truly playing at home, playing all these games, and ultimately in a away sense, and still getting results. I think that's ultimately a really good thing, man.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it genuinely shows the true quality. Like, if you want to know the true colors of this Ukrainian team, it's actually pretty high, man. Like, they're a team with a lot of talent. Again, like I said, the way that they play, it's almost Spanish in the sense. Like, they like to have a lot of possession. They like to knock the ball around. And then when they see Mudryk try to make a run, they try to release him really quickly. Same with Sigankov. So Ukraine possess some really cool players that can play some really good football. I like Ukraine. My only worry, right, is they played England. They had Italy in their European qualification group. Pretty tough, honestly. And I think it's even more of a merit that they're able to qualify, right? Because they were right behind Italy. Right behind them. But they couldn't beat them, And I think those are 2 good tests. They had 4 tries to England, to Italy. They did tie them twice, but they could not beat them. So I think there is definitely a limitation on how high this Ukrainian team can punch. But hey, they've proven that they can at least play up to Europe's best. I just think that starting in the round of 16, if you have to play against a good team, and then another good team in the quarters, and then another good, I think it's going to really stack up the pressure on this Ukrainian side. The max I have this Ukrainian team reaching probably is round of 16, but if they get a favorable draw, I could see them in the quarters.
So do they fall under the dark horse label, yes or no? Because do they have that ability to potentially surprise a top team? Let me know in the comments down below, folks.
Yeah, for real, man.
Yeah, let me know. Let me know. Dark horse?
I'm curious to know if people
think they're right on the precipice of it.
They're right there.
They're the second best roster in this group, clearly, and the team has a bunch of character, bunch of grit, and the ability to come back in matches. Because if you look at the results, they were put in some tough spots throughout this European qualification campaign, but they were able to still get points out of the match, whether it was through tying the game or ultimately getting the victory. I think that's really positive. I think the mentality of this team, is really, really strong with everything they've gone through, even just with their own situation going on at home.
Yeah.
I think their mentality is very, very strong. I think that'll play a big part. I just wonder if their talent level can match that level of mentality to really guide them into a top echelon of European football. I'd love to see it. I really, really would, bro. But I struggle putting them in that dark horse category.
Me too. And I won't. Like I said, I see this team as a round of 16 team, a solid one at that. And again, if they get a favorable draw, then expect them in the quarters. And then at that point, we saw how close Switzerland got 3 years ago. So I think Ukraine definitely boasts the same skill set that Switzerland did 3 years ago. So I think Ukraine could be a surprise at this tournament. Whether they are or not, that's why I'm not going to say they're dark horses.
Oh, man, I'm scared to say no right out. I'm scared to say no. I'm going to give them some love here. I'm going to go dark horse, lower tier Ukraine.
Lower tier dark horse.
Lower tier. They're like a brown horse.
A gray horse, yeah.
A gray horse. I got him as a gray horse. Folks, let us know. What do you think about this Ukrainian team? Are they a dark horse? And how far will they go in this Euros tournament? We have Belgium in first, Ukraine in second. I have Romania in fourth. You have them in third, meaning that you in fourth place have Slovakia getting last place in this group.
I have Slovakia getting last place in this group. I'll be honest, maybe it's just because they sound like Slovenia. I haven't really followed this team that much. I do know that they had a decent showing at the last Euros, right? And it was a team that played tidy football, that have good players throughout the entire pitch, Kuchka being one of them, Andre Duda alongside him in the midfield, but then you have Haraslin, who had a really good qualifying campaign, and then of course you have Lobotka, right? Really good all-around central midfielder. So it's not that the Slovakians don't have good players. I just really do wonder, and it's kind of the same question I have for Romania basically, is can they actually play teams that are better than them? And my ultimate answer after watching their highlights, watching their games is I just don't think they've really been able to prove that they can punch above their weight, right? I think Ukraine can. I think Ukraine can reach a level that is higher than themselves, but I don't think Slovakia can actually achieve that, even though they do have good players on their squad.
But you think they can punch higher than Romania?
I think, truly, that the third place position is wide open. And honestly, if Ukraine show up with a bit of nerves, which they've shown to kind of do that, then the second place position is also wide open for both Slovakia and Romania. So for me, the only definitive spot is that first place spot for Belgium. But honestly, second, third, fourth, I think it could be any combination of these three teams.
Slovakia coached by Francesco Calzona, who until today, with Antonio Conte being appointed Napoli manager, was coaching Napoli at the same time.
I know, dude. Pretty crazy.
I don't like that. I don't like that, man. You can't I'm not your side chick. I can't be the second option here, bro.
Yeah.
Make me the first. So Slovakia has been dealing with that. Ranked number 48 in FIFA's rankings. Got second place in Euro qualification behind Portugal with 22 points. A good amount of points, honestly. Shout out to them. Euro 2023, they ended in third in a group with Sweden, Spain, and Poland. And this is their third consecutive Euros appearance, which I think is really, really good. You already mentioned some names. They also got in the back line Milan Skriniar, a really good defender. Henko, Lobotka, Bozanic, Robert Mak. They've only lost 3 of their last 15 games so far, and 2 of those losses came against Portugal and 1 to Austria. So I think there's positivity here for this team, and that's why ultimately I have them in third place. I think they end up getting a better result here than Romania. Their defense is one of their strongest points, only allowing 8 goals in qualification. It's the offense where it gets questionable, and ultimately what I think will hold them back from competing or getting out of this group in second place. They might get through as being one of the better third place teams, but I definitely see the limitation for the Slovakian team for sure being round of 16 if they make it there. So to round it all out, Group E, we have Belgium in first, we have Ukraine in second, but then we flip with 3 and 4. I got Romania in fourth, Slovakia in third. You got Romania in third, Slovakia in fourth. Folks, let us know, how do you see Group E shaping out at the Euros 2024? I think this one is actually really, really interesting.